Harry is seated between two groups in the opening scene of MobLand, attempting to help them come to an agreement. All they need to do to mend their long-standing conflict is to shake hands regardless of whether they agree or not. Conrad Harrigan advises Harry to choose the second alternative, which is to murder them all after considerable discussion and failure to reach a consensus on the parameters. A ceasefire, even if it were achieved, would only be a short-term fix, and the issue would just worsen the following time. As a result, both sides are shut down and their issues vanish along with them. This incident establishes the level of cruelty that Harry and the Harrigans are capable of, which they must uphold in order to preserve their dominance, especially given that the Stevensons are the competitors. This brings Conrad and Harry's night to a close, but Eddie, Conrad's grandson, is just getting started on the opposite side of town. He's obviously not meant to be out partying with Tommy Stevenson. Eddie, at least, is unfuzzed by the fact that they would either be skinned alive or murdered for this. They go inside a pub in Mayfair, where Eddie stabs the other man, starting a little altercation. Despite being cordial and spending time with Eddie, Tommy is already suspicious of him, so this act frightens him. Eddie follows him out of the tavern and they cross paths beside the river. Tommy tells Eddie that he terrifies him a lot when he tosses the knife into the river. Eddie shrugs it off. His father, Kevin, phones Harry the next morning to inform him of his son's late-night meeting and how he returned with blood on his hands and clothing. Richie Stevenson learns that Tommy, his son, has not returned home in the interim. The matter is explained to Harry when he pays a visit to Kelvin and his wife Bella. He goes to the pub after questioning Eddie about the specifics and discovers the CCTV footage showing Eddie stabbed his nemesis. He first encounters some opposition from the owner, but his kindness and a little authoritative manner, together with the fact that he is here on behalf of the Harrigans, overcomes all obstacles and enables him to obtain the CCTV footage, leaving little for the police to pursue Eddie. Additionally, he should ensure that the victim remains silent. When he phones his connections, he finds that the police have not yet interrogated the victim. He locates the still bedridden man soon and informs him of the situation, not to disclose to the cops what transpired, or tell the police that he couldn't see who assaulted him because it was pitch black. In addition, he was under the influence of ketamine, so he is unsure of who attacked him. When he returns from the hospital this time, he will resume his normal life and Harry won't even trouble him again. The victim chooses the second option, which in Harry's opinion completes his work. Tommy was being pursued by Richie Stevenson's guy as he was cleaning up this mess. All the alarms were raised when he discovered that the youngster had last been spotted with Eddie Harrigan in the Mayfair Tavern. Kevin is aware that Eddie is lying when he says he didn't meet Tommy, so he calls Harry once more to inform him that there is yet another problem that has to be cleaned up. Harry must deal with his own family issues in the meanwhile, until his kids reminds him. He seems to have forgotten about the fight he had with his wife, Jan, the night before. Jan appears to want them to get help from a therapist and work out their marital problems. However, he feels that they shouldn't include a third party in their connection. Nevertheless, he chooses to follow through on her plan and instructs her to schedule a therapy session. Simultaneously, Jan meets Alice, a lady with whom the new lady in Jan and Harry's life. The possibility of a gang fight arises when Tommy is nowhere to be found, but nobody wants to get involved. Harry is instructed to sit down and talk with Richie in order to establish a basis for cooperation. They decide to meet at Moody's boxing gym on neutral territory, and Richie gives Harry till midday the next day to locate his kid. Tommy will have no choice but to strike back if he doesn't come back by then. Harry feels that the time window is sufficient, but he is also aware that there is a strong possibility that Eddie hurt Tommy in some way. Because the youngster is very impetuous and doesn't consider the repercussions of his actions, it may be revealed by noon of the following day that he did something to Tommy. There is only one chance to stop this crisis in its track, and that is right now, since doing so would make it worse. Harry phones Conrad as soon as he leaves Moody's to ask him if they ought to murder Richie and his guys at this very minute, because when all factors are taken into account, the likelihood of a conflict is imminent. Since there isn't much time to make this choice, Conrad talks to Maud, who ultimately advises him against it. She makes two crucial points before they make any conclusion. They must first learn more about circumstances. Second, when they eventually track Richie Stevenson, would she and Conrad rather be present? Richie and his guys survive to see another day since Conrad completely agrees with her reasoning. But Aki is not as fortunate. Conrad was preparing a major move for his organization when his grandson was off causing mischief. Conrad focused on fentanyl, which is under Stevenson's control and is already a highly delicate subject for the two families before Tommy's vanishing enters into the equation, because the Harrigans already controlled a large portion of the market and needed to generate new revenue. His oldest son, Brendan, younger son, Kevin, daughter, Serafina, the family lawyer, O'Hara, and Conrad's closest companion, Archie, take part in the family meeting that Conrad calls to explore this economic opportunity. He makes an appearance earlier in the episode, meeting with Conrad to talk about his strategy. But by the time he arrives for the meeting, mistrust has already been established. According to Marv, Archie dealt with the Fire, a group engaged in the fentanyl trade, behind Conrad's back. When Conrad brings up the fentanyl intentions at the meeting, Archie cuts him off, stating that maybe this time it's off and that they should talk about this a bit more before acting. Conrad is sufficiently convinced of all the accusations made against the man by this time, and the meeting concludes when he shoots Archie in the chest. Because of the Marv's concern, Conrad kills his closest buddy, shocking everybody in the process. With his new gangster series MobLand, Guy Ritchie is returning to Paramount Plus and bringing his distinctive gritty aesthetics. If nothing else, episode 1 makes it clear that the series will become your new favorite. MobLand from Paramount Plus immerses viewers in the shadow realm of London's criminal underworld, where two powerful families battle over power and supremacy, the worst of the worst. By presenting the people and establishing their relationships, the first episode provides us with an overview of the situation and a sneak peek of how things will quickly go south 0 to 100 real quick. The Stevensons and the Harrigans are the families at odds with one another. In the midst of all is Harry de Souza, Tom Hardy, the Harrigans' fixer, who handles everything for them, from clearing the board by eliminating the competitors from the oldest Harrigan to cleaning up the mess even for the younger Harrigans.